Most gardeners right now are obsessed with biochar. You see it everywhere: videos, gardening blogs, soil amendment guides, all telling people to crush charcoal and add it to their garden beds. But here's the problem. Many gardeners are chasing biochar while ignoring something far more powerful for soil health, something farmers used long before biochar became trendy. And because of that mistake, a lot of gardens are slowly losing minerals, weakening plant health, and producing smaller harvests every year. The missing ingredient isn't charcoal, it's rock dust. Before we dig into why that matters so much, let me mention something that helped me uncover this problem in my own garden bed. I started using a 4-in-1 soil moisture meter that reads soil moisture, temperature, pH and sunlight levels because soil problems rarely show up on the surface right away. I noticed certain beds had perfect moisture, but plants were still struggling. When I checked the pH and soil conditions more closely, the issue wasn't water, it was mineral depletion. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. It's one of those tools that helps you catch soil problems early instead of guessing. Once I started paying attention to the mineral side of soil health, it became obvious why some beds thrived and others slowly declined. And the answer had nothing to do with fertilizer. Here's the problem that, honestly, modern gardening advice rarely mentions. Most of the time, advice focuses on 3 things: compost, fertilizer, and organic matter. Now, those things are important, no question about it. But really, they're only part of the soil equation. See, plants also require dozens of trace minerals that, well, rarely get replaced once they're removed from the soil. Every time you harvest vegetables, you're actually removing minerals. And every time rain washes through your soil, it carries small amounts of those minerals away. Over time, the soil might become biologically active, but mineral poor, and that's where rock dust enters the picture. Here's why ancient farmers, understood minerals better than we do today. Before modern fertilizers ever existed, farmers paid close attention to the type of rocks in their soil. Volcanic regions, glacial valleys, and mineral-rich landscapes produced stronger crops and, honestly, healthier plants. It wasn't just the organic matter, it was the minerals. When glaciers grind rock into fine powder, they create something incredibly valuable for soil mineral dust. That dust contains dozens of trace elements that plants need in tiny amounts: calcium, magnesium, iron, silica, manganese, zinc, copper. These are minerals that support plant metabolism, root growth, and disease resistance. Biochar doesn't provide those minerals, but rock dust does. So why does rock dust quietly improve soil biology? Well, soil microbes depend on minerals just as much as plants do. Many microbial processes actually require trace elements to function properly. Without those elements, microbial populations can become, unbalanced. You might have plenty of organic matter, but the microbial community just lacks the minerals needed to convert nutrients into plant-available forms. That's actually one reason some compost-rich gardens still struggle. The microbes are active, but they're missing key ingredients. Adding rock dust helps restore that balance. Once minerals return to the system, microbial activity becomes more diverse and stable. I tested this in raised beds over several seasons. A few years ago, I started experimenting with rock dust in my raised beds. The soil already had plenty of compost, worm activity, and organic matter, but certain crops, especially tomatoes and peppers, weren't producing the yields I expected. I applied finely ground basalt rock dust to one bed and left another bed unchanged. The application rate was simple, roughly 5 to 10 pounds of rock dust per 100 square feet. Nothing extreme. Within a season, the difference started showing. The treated bed produced darker green foliage, thicker stems, and noticeably stronger root systems. The flavor of the vegetables also improved, something many mineral-focused farmers talk about. That experiment changed how I think about soil amendments. Rock dust works slowly, but it works deeply. Unlike fertilizers that deliver nutrients instantly, rock dust releases minerals slowly. Soil microbes and organic acids from plant roots gradually break down the particles. That slow release creates a long-term mineral supply. It's more like rebuilding the foundation of the soil rather than feeding the plants directly. And once those minerals are present, the soil ecosystem becomes far more resilient. Plants handle stress better, roots grow deeper, disease resistance improves. This is why volcanic soils are so productive. Some of the most fertile farmland on Earth sits near volcanic regions. Volcanic ash and basalt rock naturally supply mineral-rich dust to the soil. That constant mineral input helps maintain soil fertility for generations. Farmers in those regions often need less fertilizer because the mineral base of the soil remains strong. When gardeners add basalt or other mineral rock dust, they're essentially recreating that natural process. It's a small step toward restoring the mineral diversity that healthy soils once had. Biochar still has value, but it's not the whole solution. Biochar can improve soil structure and water retention. It creates microscopic habitat for microbes, but biochar alone doesn't replace the minerals that leave the soil during harvest. That's why, combining biochar with mineral-rich amendments often produces better results. One improves structure, the other restores the mineral supply. So the real lesson here isn't that biochar is useless. It's that biochar without minerals is incomplete. Rock dust also improves plant resilience. Plants grown in mineral-rich soil often show better resistance to pests and diseases. This happens because minerals strengthen plant cell walls and support important metabolic functions. Silica, for example, helps reinforce plant tissue. Calcium supports cell structure. Magnesium plays a role in chlorophyll production. When those minerals are present in balanced amounts, plants simply perform better. They don't rely as heavily on external inputs to stay healthy. Container gardens benefit from minerals too. Container gardening is especially prone to mineral depletion. Potting mixes are often made from compost, peat, and lightweight materials that contain very few trace minerals. Over time, repeated watering flushes nutrients out of the container. Adding a small amount of rock dust to potting soil can dramatically improve long-term fertility. Even just a few tablespoons mixed into a container can provide trace minerals for months. The key is using finely ground dust so microbes and roots can access those minerals gradually. So how much rock dust is actually needed? One of the advantages of rock dust is that a little goes a long way. For most garden beds, 5 to 10 pounds per 100 square feet is enough to replenish trace minerals. It doesn't need to be applied every year. In many cases, once every 2 or 3 seasons is sufficient. That makes it a long-term soil investment rather than a constant input. And because the minerals release slowly, the risk of overfeeding plants is very low. Healthy soil depends on balance. Modern gardening trends often focus on single solutions, one product, one amendment, one trick that promises perfect soil. But real soil health doesn't work that way. Soil is a complex system built on organic matter, microbes, minerals, water, oxygen, and plant roots all interacting together. When one part of that system is missing, the entire ecosystem struggles. Biochar can improve soil structure. Compost feeds microbes, but minerals build the foundation that supports everything else. Once that foundation is restored, the entire soil system begins to function better. Understanding soil at this deeper level changes how you approach gardening. Instead of constantly chasing fertilizers or quick fixes, you start rebuilding the ecosystem that plants depend on. And when the soil ecosystem is balanced, plants grow stronger with far less effort. If you enjoy learning practical, science-backed gardening techniques like this, subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who's been adding biochar but still struggling with weak plants or declining soil fertility, share this video with them. Sometimes the real soil miracle isn't a modern trend, it's a forgotten technique hiding in plain sight.